Hello, everybody. Michael Ross here. The case I'll be presenting today is Clyde and Sheila versus the Puyallup School District. Excuse me. Um, Interesting court case going on, and a lot of interesting twists and turns. It's about a student named Ryan. Here are the questions that I'm going to kind of go over and want to have you thinking about those as I take you through the court case. Number one, what are the steps that may have prevented this lawsuit, this court case? And then think about a special education. Are they meeting the four qualifications of the least restrictive environment as a part of IDEA? So a little bit of background. Ryan K is a student. He's a 15-year-old. He's diagnosed with Tourette's and ADHD, and he is receiving special education in the mainstream school. Some of the accommodations for him. Teacher and staff have attend special training. Ryan could leave the class at any time to relieve his tics, is what they refer to him of. I'm assuming his blurting and Tourette's issues. He also worked with a behavior specialist. He did small group work with for all academic areas, and the school hired an aide to observe behavior. So a lot of different accommodations for him. A little bit about the parents, Clyde and Sheila K. They agreed that it was not safe for Ryan to be in the mainstream after one of his incidents that I'll talk about here. They did not like the program they were referring him to, which was STARS, students temporarily away from the regular school. Changed their mind, and that's kind of where the whole due process started. So a little bit about Ryan and his behaviors. They affected his personal academics greatly, and they said in the year where everything kind of started escalating in 1992, his academic actually was his behaviors were his academics were declining. So kind of a big issue there when we start getting into IDEA. Escalated between January and March of 1992. He was making vulgar sexual comments towards female students. He was disrupting classes with profanity and taunting. He struck two students and got a one-day suspension. Then later on, he struck one staff member, and that's where there was an emergency expulsion. And that's kind of where everything got going. So at a meeting, the parents agreed it was not safe for everyone for Ryan to stay at that school. The staff met determined to put him into STARS program. That would be a good fit for Ryan. Parents had agreed to it, but then they kind of once they said they were going to send him there, they changed their mind, and then they requested a due process hearing. So that's going to be a big part of it, is that they did agree to it. So some of the issues here, when going through it, there were several of them there that we're going to talk about, of procedural and substantive violations of IDEA. And you can see up there, Chief Wiggum, throw the book at them, because they have about six, I believe it's six, three procedural violations of IDEA and three substantive violations of IDEA. So a lot going on here. So I'll try to go slow and make sure I hit everything. The first one they talked about as a procedural violation is that the school hired an aide to observe Ryan's behaviors. The ruling was that the aide did not impact or change Ryan's educational program at all, so the court sided with the school. Next one, the school met and decided upon a STARS program, and the ruling was that Ryan's parents initially agreed to the STARS placement. So once again, one of those issues that they weren't happy with, and they tried to change their mind at him. The parents tried to change their mind. Next one, the school did not bring teachers to the IEP meeting. The court decided that the teacher and the behavioral specialist from the STARS program did attend their meetings, so that counted as the current placement, because when they had agreed to it, then that turned stars to his current educational program. So that's also a big piece of it there too. So we get into the substantive violations of IDEA. They said Ryan had to be in the stay put placement, and part of IDEA is that when a parents are filing due process, that the child stays in the current educational program. And school said, okay, yeah, that's true, but you had agreed to STARS, and so STARS was the current educational program, and the um, court agreed on that, sided with the school district on that also. Getting into the least restrictive environment, this is kind of one of the questions that you might be answering later. So the four parts of it is the academic benefit, the non-academic benefits, the negative effects on students and teachers, and the cost of educating the student in the mainstream environment. Court decided with that the school had met the all those pieces to it. So the first one, the academic benefit, his personal academics were declining. Non-academic benefits, few friends, socially isolated. So that least restrictive environment, sending him to STARS temporarily was not going to affect that greatly. Negative effects on students and teachers. Obviously, hitting students and teachers has a negative effect, but the blurting, the taunting, the vulgar language, all negative effects and on the students' learning also. They didn't bring up the cost of educating the student, and that I could find. I think that kind of goes along with what we've talked about so far, that the cost doesn't necessarily come into play. Not something you should really think about. So, opinion, I definitely agree with the court's ruling, especially the comments at the end that I'll bring up here in just a little bit. But the court, said that the school is meeting all their parts of it. So, I think that STARS at that point was probably the best fit for Ryan, and they were meeting all the components of IDEA. Implications, making sure you're making that good faith effort. You're protecting other students' physical and educational rights, even if the student has an IEP. You still got to make sure you're protecting them. And the court said at the end that the school should have made more of an effort to protect the other students from the vulgar and sexual comments that Ryan was making to them, and that they could be liable for those comments also. So make sure you're also following IDEA, that least restrictive environment, and making sure you're hitting all four of those components too, and document. Little quiz here. A parent files a lawsuit that your school is not meeting the rights under IDEA. Who is to prove that the rights are being met? So who has the burden of proof? The students, the parents, the school, or D, C, and then B. And take some time to think about that. Correct answer is D, the school and then the parents. Not necessarily always the case, but in this one, the lower courts, the school had the burden to prove that they met the IDEA in the lower courts, and then after the school won that case, the parents had to prove that they were not meeting IDEA. So that was kind of an interesting ruling in this case. So back to those questions, things to think about as you're doing that. The court decided at the end, some of the notes were that the parents probably should have been a little bit more lenient and flexible on what they were asking for. It just seems like they were just looking for anything to throw at the school, especially with all those things that we talked about earlier. So, very interesting case. The judge pointed out that they could have acted more. Both sides could have acted more appropriate towards each other. And so that, because Ryan ended up spending 2 years in the STARS program because of everything that was going on, and that was his current educational program. So the parents, as much as they fought, they ended up losing. And I think Ryan really got hurt the most because he ended up having to spend those 2 years in that program because he wasn't allowed to come back to school until the suit was finished. Um, and then also the cost the school district over $100,000 in legal fees too. So everybody kind of ended up being the loser in that case. So kind of brings me to the question: what are some steps that may have prevented this lawsuit? Um, maybe it was nothing, but kind of with what we know, what are some areas that might have helped? And then if you want to go into the 4 qualifications for LRE, you can answer that question too. So thanks for taking time out of your day, and I look forward to see the responses.